Good afternoon, Packers fans. Aaron Nagler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on the Cheesehead TV social channels. It's Tuesday. It's the Packers' day off. At least the players have the day off. The coaches are undoubtedly entrenched inside 1265 Lombardi, laying the plans, putting down the foundation of a game plan for the Packers to march into Atlanta and come out with a W. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about Green Bay Packers because that's what we do here at Cheesehead TV. We're devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Man, today's been a day. I want to say Carry the G Radio made its debut at 97.3 The Game and throughout Wisconsin. Talking Packers with Billy Schmid is just a joy. I have so much fun. I want to thank everybody who tuned in here on the YouTube channel. We had a lively group in the chat. I'm sorry I can't really react to the chat during the radio show the way I do on most of Cheesehead TV stuff, but it was still great to see the super chats come in. Thank you so much for the support. And hey, you got a little kind of behind the scenes look at the radio show when we went to that first commercial. So yeah, that was a lot of fun, and we'll be doing that every Tuesday from noon till 2 p.m. Central each and every week. It'll be available here on the YouTube channel, so I hope you guys will check it out next week, next Tuesday at noon. In the meantime, the Packers 1-0, sitting there tied for the division lead. Exciting times in Green Bay. Not so exciting times here in New York City. Brutal turn of events last night during the Jets home opener. Man, just a surreal scene watching Rodgers go down the way he did and being carted off. And pretty much, I'm not saying not everybody, but pretty much everyone knew it was pretty significant. I had a bunch of people like almost instantly texting me like, that looks like an Achilles, and most certainly that's what it turned out to be. And gone for the year. Put on injury reserve earlier today. Packers clearly not going to hit that 65% threshold they were hoping for, but that's pretty, secondary to the fact that it is really hard to think that that could be the last time we see Aaron Rodgers on a football field. And I know he's contracted, he's got, years left on his deal with the Jets, but man, he is an older quarterback coming back from an Achilles injury, which is extremely serious. I'd never bet against Aaron Rodgers. If he says he's coming back, he's going to work his ass off and rehab and be back next season, there's no one I would, basically be rooting on more than Aaron Rodgers in that situation, just because I was ready for another year of Aaron Rodgers playing football, and now we're not going to get to see that. It's insane to me. But yeah, the thing I saw, of course, as it happened live, I think David Bakhtiari was on the turf for MetLife Stadium, and he couldn't be more correct. I mean, that is not the thing that caused the injury, but it certainly didn't help, and it certainly didn't prevent it in a way that maybe perhaps a grass playing surface might have. And I think, I know he was dealing with a calf this summer. Is oftentimes a precursor, and it's kind of what happened with Kevin Durant, right? And it's just brutal to think that this billionaire owner or ownership, spends all this money and all this time and puts all this effort into bringing Aaron Rodgers to New York to play on that cheap ass surface. And I know this is the improved version of the surface at MetLife Field. That's the crazy part. This is the better fake ass version of the, grass that they have out there. And I understand Woody Johnson and company have to work with the Giants, like it's a co-owned stadium. But, hello, there's a reason they have to change all this grass, all these surfaces into grass for the World Cup when it comes in a year, 2 years, whatever it is, because the players in FIFA have demanded it and refused to play on artificial surfaces. It's so unfortunate to see Aaron Rodgers and what was going to be such a fun season of kind of, taking a look, taking a peek, seeing how he's doing, watching Jordan Love grow, and then watching his former mentor essentially, have a new chapter to write, and it's all been robbed. And I understand like our world view here as fans is very, very secondary to Rodgers himself and getting right and getting healthy. That is the most number one important thing here. I'm not trying to lose sight of that. But yeah, as a football fan, it sucks. Like, no two ways about it. But I'll tell you what doesn't suck. The Green Bay Packers. That's right. Undefeated. And, in no small part because of their defense and the performance they gave on Sunday in Chicago. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids of all ages, let me tell you something. For many, 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 many years, we sat here on this Al Gore invention called the internet and talked about needing, not wanting, needing to get Kenny Clark some help. And by gosh, I think they might have done it. I think utilizing that first round pick last year, Brian Gutekunst may have gotten Kenny Clark some help in the form of Devonte Wyatt. That kid had a game on Sunday. Yeah, you talk about the promise we saw last year, the upside, the things that you were tantalizing, but it wasn't like it was anywhere near consistent enough. Oh, baby. Sunday, as the running mate to one Kenny Clark, that was exciting. That was a problem for the Chicago offensive line. And yes, they will face better offensive lines going forward. I have zero doubt. I have little doubt that Devonte Wyatt is just getting started. And this is what you talk about when you talk about a guy making that next step, taking that next step in year 2 from year 1. And that's a credit to him. We saw it at the start of the camp. I think I did a video on it my first or second day in camp once the pads came on. Like, it's noticeable. And I think you all bear witness to that on Sunday. And that's a testament to his work, the work he did this offseason. That didn't just happen. That didn't just materialize. Yes, the coaches deserve some credit as well. Jerry Montgomery and company, bringing him along, no doubt. But the kid, Devonte Wyatt, did that. That work each and every day, working out in the gym, working on his moves during camp, all the stuff that he did has led him here. And he's just getting started. And that's what's so exciting. Man, I'm ready. I'm ready to watch a defense that can cause people problems up front. The game is won in the trenches. And for a long time, the Packers have been winning on offense because they have a really good offensive line more often than not. We all know that hasn't been the case on defense. And lo and behold, defensive line comes alive, and the Packers have a really nice game on defense. It's not a coincidence. So here's to Devonte Wyatt starting on a journey that's going to lead him to the quarterback early and often. That's what I'm talking about. There we go. Good to see everybody in the comments section. People mixing it up. I have 17 super chats already. Holy Toledo. All right, let's get to them. First of all, shout out to Will Glass, latest Carry the G Club member. Really appreciate the support. Thank you, Will. Alex, thank you for the super chat. Very generous. As a deaf Packer fan, I don't get to join the Packers Daily Live due to no live captions, so I watch afterwards, but I appreciate the accessibility of all the other content and love the work you guys do at Cheesehead TV. Go Pack Go. Alex, thank you so much. That is incredibly kind. Thank you, man. Joseph, thank you for becoming a Carry the G Club member. Really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Spiked Maka, thanks for the super chat. Lost in the Packers didn't do enough to help Rodgers narrative is the fact they pretty much annually produced good to great O-lines. Jets O-line, a sieve. While this is true, be remiss if I didn't, point out that on the play he was injured, the left tackle's executing a cut block, not a great one, but a cut block. That ball is designed to come out. Rodgers plays in the rhythm of the play. He's probably not hurt right now. It's just crazy that's how it ends, at least for this season. Dennis, thanks for the super chat, man. Maybe you can drop some acid and manifest a new Achilles. Wow. I mean, I don't know if he's thought of that, but I'll pass it along. Pack Daddy, thanks to the super chat. Yes, I'm sad for Aaron. However, my disappointment in having lost a first round pick does not make me a monster, as some have intimated. Oh, don't worry. I mean, here's the thing. Of course, you want a first round pick. You're a Packers fan. You wanted the best possible outcome for the Packers. That doesn't mean you don't have feelings or don't care about the person. That's just people looking for reasons to be upset. You can ignore all that nonsense. If you have an inability as someone on the internet to go, oh, you know what? This person is talking about this subject and not be able to think how it reflects in a million other ways and subjects that aren't being spoken about, that is on you. Like, yeah, Pack Daddy, do not pay that shit any attention. Just mute and move on with your life. John Semitovich, thanks to the super chat, man. Happy to have Jordan Love, but 12's news just sucks. Yeah, you ain't lying, man. It is really for the whole league, really. I mean, just how much did we hear about the entire narrative and the drama around the Packers and Aaron and the trade and then the Jets and leverage gate and all this stuff, and then the summer and Hard Knocks and blah, blah, blah. And then you get here and it's over after 4 plays. It's just nuts. Ed, thanks to the super chat. Ton of respect for Rodgers on the field. Never want to see any player get hurt, but am not sad to have an entire season with no Rodgers drama. Now, Ed, be nice. But I will say, you really think we're going a whole season without it? Now, it could be worse than ever. Now he's free to talk about whatever he wants all the time. Hell, he could be on McAfee talking politics. He doesn't have to worry about the games. Man, careful what you're wishing for there, buddy. Anything's possible. Cheeto, thanks to the super chat, man. Wanted a good season for Rodgers. Blame the Vikings. How are we blaming the Vikings in this scenario? Although I will say, I was wondering if the Vikings were going to hang some kind of banner because Aaron Rodgers was injured again and out for the year. That seems to be what they like to do. Jeff, thanks to the super chat, man. Given the injury history on turf fields, would you consider strategic rest or limited time for certain players on those fields? Bakhtiari, Gary, Stokes, etc. Consider it, maybe. I don't know if I'd limit reps other than, say, in a blowout one way or the other, right? But yeah, it's hard. Clearly the medical professionals and the athletic trainers are in a much better position to answer that question. I'd feel kind of silly even pontificating about it. They've got more information, more knowledge than I'll ever even approach having. So, I mean, in theory, yeah, what you're saying makes sense. But the football professionals, the medical professionals, the trainers, if they see fit to do exactly what you're talking about, and I got to think it's a conversation at some point, right? Yeah, I'm all on board if they sign off on it. But again, I would be surprised if they went that route. You're going to play on what you got to play, and they're going to try and win the football game. And those are good players you're talking about. Your chances of succeeding and winning the games are much higher when you have your best players out there, and those are your best players, some of them. So yeah, that's a tough one. Godsmack, thanks for the super chat. I hope Rodgers has a speedy recovery. Honestly, Corey Banky's takes on Rodgers last year made me sick, disgusted, and embarrassed as a Packers fan. Transplants was hard to watch at times last year. Go Pack, go. I always find that interesting. I hear what you're saying, man, but embarrassed as a Packers fan, sick, disgusted because Corey has an opinion? Like, I get you don't agree with it, but it's his opinion. He's allowed to have it. And this is another problem on the internet. This is really prevalent on Twitter, but it's like everywhere on the internet. Man, you don't have to agree with it. That's fine. Why would it make you sick and disgusted? It's just somebody else's opinion. Keep scrolling or don't watch and go on with your life. Like that, I just don't like sick and disgusted. That feels so heavy, man. It is not that serious. It's football. Like, yes, Aaron Rodgers getting injured last night is very serious for Aaron Rodgers, no doubt about it. But man, people popping off jokes or whatever, or saying whatever Corey was saying about Aaron Rodgers last year and his attitude. And also, by the way, I'll remind you, sir, that Corey is giving voice in those instances to a lot of other Packers fans' thoughts. Corey wasn't the only one saying that shit. Corey's not the only one thinking that shit. He's saying it into a microphone and you're hearing it. That doesn't mean he's alone in that regard. People need to be just a little more open to other people's ideas and thoughts and opinions. That's all I'm asking. Sick and disgusted? I don't know, man. That feels like a bit much. A bit much to me. Greg, thanks for the super chat, man. Sad day for football and Aaron Rodgers. Hope he comes back. Now, Jordan Love, let's go! Loved his play yesterday. Thoughts? Well, Craig, his play yesterday was non-existent because he played on Sunday, and it is Tuesday. I have so many thoughts about that, Craig. Let me tell you. Chris, thanks for the super chat, man. I was listening to Pat McAfee show earlier. Dr. David Chow was on and shared his optimism on Rodgers' recovery ability. I share the same sentiment. Well, there you go. See? A little as Han Solo famously said, come on, let's keep a little optimism here. I'm down with it. I like it. Jacob, thanks again, man. I was ready to move on from Rodgers. I was not, however, ready to move on from watching him play, hoping that's not how he goes out. Yeah, I'm definitely hoping that as well, man. I just keep thinking, man, 40 years old, aging quarterback, coming back from that injury. It's never been done. I'm going to be shocked, man. Going to be shocked. Mario, thanks for the super chat, man. Jordan Love converting on 3rd and 4th downs were the biggest moments in the game. It also seemed like Matt went for it on every 4th down. Shows how much they trust Jordan. Yeah, well, Matt's gone for it on 4th down a whole lot since he got to Green Bay, period. I mean, and yes, I do think maybe he starts to rethink that or retool the idea a little bit if he doesn't trust Jordan, right? But yeah, that's what's crazy. And I talked to Wayne Larrivee about that on the radio today. That's a sentence I can say. That's insane to me. But yeah, the idea that he was at his best on the money downs, 3rd and 4th, lights out, man. In his first start as the starter, he comes out and is just an assassin on 3rd and 4th downs, the most important plays in football. Like, come on, you'd love to see it. Chris, thanks for the super chat. By the way, love you, Nags. Love the pack. Go pack, go. A lot of love in the air. See what I did there? Mimsy, thanks for the super chat, man. Does Rodgers break his collarbone if Minnesota was grass? Seems like something the NFLPA should take up in the next CBA, but likely they balk at with more money. I mean, that's the thing. It's all on the table once those CBA negotiations are open, but you can only do so much if they're the PA. And in the past negotiations, they've always been pretty much playing defense and trying to protect and not give up things. But yeah, it's about trading, right? It's about negotiation. And you got to think, if enough dudes were to like start rattling their sabers, so to speak, at NFLPA leadership, maybe that becomes a point of conversation at the negotiating table, right? But so far, that hasn't been the case. I do think if David keeps this up, though, keeps being very public about this and keeps kind of driving that train, there's a good chance for it. But that'll be well after I think they still got, 7 years on the current CBA? It'll be well after David's retired, most likely. So who's going to pick up that mantle? I mean, they got short memories, man. If David were to retire and no one was talking about it, I'll bet it doesn't even come up. Sad but true. What else we got here, folks? New York Cheesehead, what's up, man? Hashtag NagsPay. I was glad to see Savage flying around. Go Pack Go. NagsPay. I like it. Yeah, Savage had a really good game. That's, to my eyes, easily his best game under Joe Barry. Like, not even a question. I thought his physicality, his decisiveness, what was just jumped off the tape as far as diagnosing, seeing where the ball is going to go before it goes there. I mean, it's a Jedi trait. If he had been born in the Republic, we would have spotted it early. See how I weave it in there? Oh, yeah. But no, truly, he saw stuff that clearly he'd seen on tape and or been coached about where, bam, just out the gate like a million miles an hour, going to make that tackle without hesitation, without work. Like, that's what you want. When you hear Matt and coaches talk about, you're going to make mistakes, but make them at a million miles an hour. That's what you want to see. It was such a good game from Savage. Very encouraging. Now, of course, as I joked about with Billy on the radio, that's now the standard, right? You've seen, look, you can do it. We know you can do it. You did it for a whole game right there. Now do that every game. That's the standard. And yes, you're going to face different defense or different offenses, and teams are going to be doing different things sometimes to try and take advantage of you. Now you've got to be able to bring this week in and week out. That is the job. It's a good start for Savage, though. Very good start. Hey, Chris, thanks for becoming a Carry the G Club member. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much. Eric, thanks for the super chat. After talking to you and Billy today, need more than 1 day a week of Carry the G radio. Thank you, Eric. Thanks for calling in. I really appreciate it. As far as more than 1 day, baby steps. It's not going to happen this year, but this season it'll be every Tuesday. Hopefully we grow. Because here's the thing. Last year, Billy and I were just on a podcast here on Cheesehead TV. This year, we're on a fucking 2-hour radio show every single week. That's kind of a big jump. So I'm excited for where it could go. But this season, yeah, it'll just be 2 hours every Tuesday, noon to 2 Central Time. Make sure you're tuning in because it's going to be a lot of fun. Abdul, what's up? Thanks for the super chat. Hey, Aaron. Sad about the other Aaron. Is this weekend a good measuring stick for how far our run D has come? If we get run over, will you view as one game or a harbinger of things to come? I mean, yeah, it's a legit test. Good offensive line, 2 really talented backs. Going to have to be sound, going to have to be disciplined, going to have to get those guys on the ground, not allow big runs, which they did a great job of against Chicago. Much stiffer test this time around, though. I'm interested to see what kind of numbers Barry commits on early downs, right? Because he was able to play a lot of cover 2, a lot of high 2 shell, cover 6, things that had, the secondary way off the line of scrimmage. I do wonder how much more maybe dropping into the box he does with Savage or Ford or whoever to try and clog those running lanes. But yeah, it'll be a good test. As far as is it a harbinger of things to come? Yeah, it's so early in the season. It's hard to say, man. I would doubt it. Your teams are still forming their identity. Really kind of trial and error stuff is going on, and you're trying to figure out what's works the best with this group of guys this first month of the season in particular. So yeah, I'd have a hard time saying, and look, you're not going to face the same team every week, right? Every team is so different. And that's why this league is so unpredictable at times, because it is so matchup driven. It is such a matchup driven league. And it is hard to be able to take whatever performance you had against one scheme and just cookie cutter it and say, this is what it's going to be like against some other scheme. There's just too many variables. So that's what makes it fascinating. And that's why we watch. But that's why it would be hard for me to say if they do say get run over, whatever. It's hard to say, well, that's going to happen every week. It's way too early for me. Joe, thanks for the super chat, man. If teams try to blitz the Packers more, are the Packers rookie receivers prepared to be the hot read? If not, how do Packers handle pressure? Yes, Joe, is the answer. I mean, yeah, they got to be, right? There's no doubt about it. To your point, they didn't see a lot of pressure from Chicago, and Jordan said they didn't expect to. That's just not their MO, right? And a lot of teams try to stick with what they're supposedly good at. I say supposedly just because it's the Bears and they still suck. But yeah, coaching staffs generally stay within their framework. Not always. Some teams are a little bit more malleable. Belichick's famous for being able to kind of morph his looks week to week. But not everybody does that. But once they do face somebody who likes to pressure, like say Steve Spagnuolo in Kansas City, as Jordan Love can attest, that's a big test. No doubt about it. And you've got to be able to. And here's the thing. Sometimes there are built-in hot reads, into whatever concept. Maybe you are expecting pressure. You're expecting a team to send a lot of pressure. So you have that in the game plan. But sometimes, yeah, it's on site. Sometimes it's a quarterback noticing it and making an adjustment at the line of scrimmage. You bet that test is coming. That's why I talked all off season long. There's going to be up and downs. There's going to be frustrations. That's part of the gig. And are they ready? No idea. It's going to be fun to find out, though. No doubt. What else we got? Soder, thanks for the super chat, man. Early, but Wooden and Brooks look like upgrades. Yeah, Wooden especially. I thought Brooks was pretty up and down. I know he had the sack, and that's pretty exciting, but he definitely had some rookie moments there. But yes, as far as you're talking about rolling guys in throughout the game and being able to stand up and not have this huge drop off, very much agreed there. No doubt. Chris, thanks again, man. One thing I didn't love was Reed getting hurt on a meaningless deep ball. Glad he was okay, but hopefully will prevent things like that in the future. Meaningless? He was trying to throw the ball to his receiver. Well, how is that meaningless? I mean, I guess you'd be like the play was incomplete, so it didn't count. Is that what you mean? Man, they're trying to make a play. I don't know. That's not meaningless. But yeah, seeing him get hurt, thank God it was only cramps. I think I said on the post game, like, I thought he was done for the year. And then he's out there recovering the onside kick. What was the crazy sequence in my heart? Brother Love, what a handle. Thanks to the super chat, man. Cheers to Quay for a heck of a play and not getting ejected from the game. He's maturing as a player. All right, give the man some love. He got a concussion for your enjoyment. But yes, he did not get ejected. It's a nice step in the right direction, no doubt. Caleb, thanks for the super sticker, which is nothing but a cheesehead emoji or a cheese emoji. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Adam Klein, thanks for the super chat, man. Hey, Nags, keep up the great work. I know Rodgers is the big news today, but let's all refocus on the Packers win. Drinking from the cup of Bears fans' tears. Oh, Adam, as the kids say, we've been new. Ed Pierce, thanks to the super chat, man. Crap, your point about the drama increasing is valid. Ed, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Menace, thanks to the super chat. Thank you so much. Despite it not being the OT complete fault, what happened to 8, this needs to shut the whole narrative about 69 being gone next year. The importance of that position was widely evident league-wide last week, and we got a good one. They do. Menace, I hate to break it to you, though, is going to be real tough. It's going to be very tough. Unless David takes some kind of major hometown discount, which I don't see happening, it's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky to keep David around. Maybe they find a way to work out an extension that keeps paying him and lowers his cap hit significantly. But right now, that's going to be tough. Godsmath, thanks again, man. I realize Corey has his misguided opinions on Rodgers. Doesn't make it right. Here you go. See, you're obsessed, right or wrong. I'm not saying either one is right or wrong, but he's allowed. And just because you disagree with him doesn't mean you're right. See how we work this? We're all allowed to have opinions. It's opinions. That's all it is. And it's football opinions at that. Killing me, man. Killing me. John, thanks for the super chat. True about drama. 12 could do a podcast with 4. Can you imagine? Here's what I really want to know. Does this give Aaron time to finish up the film, the documentary that he was working on with Brett Favre? Remember that? I know Brett's stuff off the field has probably shelved that for the time being, but maybe Aaron, with a bunch of time on his hands, gets back to it. Who knows? We'll see. I doubt it. Greg, thanks to the super chat. Can you ask Coach about the 10-yard cushion from our D? Come on. Yeah, I know we're winning, but damn, man, are we really saying our guys can't do man coverage? Craig, it's not a question of can't do man coverage. It's a question of that's the scheme. And as I pointed out after the game, if you're tackling the way they tackled on Sunday, it's fine. The scheme works. You know, and yes, it's frustrating to see them complete, say, a slant to DJ Moore with Jair playing well off the line. But that is the idea of the scheme, is to keep it in front of you. And look, they went into half in that game having given up 6 points. They ended up giving up 20 after they built a huge lead. Like, that's the scheme that's working. And I get it. It's frustrating. Yes, I want to see them contest guys. I want to see them be physical at the line of scrimmage. I do think some of that will come, dependent on the opponent. But when you're facing Justin Fields, come on. You're not worried. You just keep it all in front of you, make the tackles, get off the field. That's a fine game plan against Justin Fields. Now we'll see if that continues. And honestly, I expect the same game plan, on Sunday against the Falcons. As they face better quarterbacks, I think we'll see some of that change, because one of the best ways to kind of disrupt the timing with a elite quarterback and his wide receivers is, get them out the line of scrimmage. That's what it's all about. Abdul, thanks for the super chat, man. I love 12 and all the memories he gave us, but Zabe put it really well when he said he was hurt when he saw how buddy 12 was with the young players all of a sudden, showed up at OTAs and was flexible to take a pay cut. Yeah, I get where Zabe is coming from. And I said this on his radio show. Like, I understand that aspect of it. But I also get why Rodgers felt that way and felt it necessary to do those things in a new environment, right? Yes, towards the end, things were very, I don't want to say toxic, but contentious between Aaron and the front office. I understand it. And I did Tyler clipped off a video from one of these chats during the summer where I said, It's not a surprise he took a huge pay cut for the Jets. He was never going to happen with the Packers once they took Jordan Love. It was just once they took Love, the die was cast. And, we got 2 MVP seasons out of it, got real close to a Super Bowl with it, just didn't close the deal. But I don't know. I get where Zabe's coming from, but as I always say, man, it ain't show friends, it's show business. Rodgers was just doing business. I got a little problem with that. JJ, thanks for the super chat. Here's $5 towards a frame for that photo of the Bears fans drinking Carry the G. How insane was that? If anybody missed it on pregame, someone had, I guess, on a train in Chicago, 2 Bears jerseys, 2 dudes drinking Carry the G. Hey, man, rock and roll. Andy, thanks for the super chat. Playing on grass is a gas. Can you dig it? I can dig it, Andy. Vex, thanks for the super chat. Watching J-Love just rip it was great. Didn't see the hesitancy Rodgers showed in the last few years. Still cautiously optimistic. I'm with you, man. But it was crazy to see him double clutch there in the red zone and hit Dobbs on that first touchdown. When that happened, when he clutched it, I was like, oh no, oh God, oh no. But man, shout out to the offensive line, keeping those guys at bay, allowing him to do a double clutch and then hit Romeo Dobbs. But for the most part, you're right. He was standing in there, firing, letting her rip. I mean, so different, right, than he was, say, it wasn't his rookie year because they didn't have preseason that year, but his second year in the league, that first kind of preseason stretch, very different quarterback. Very different. Rob, thanks to the super chat, man. Might be wrong, but weren't they 100% in the red zone? They were indeed. Kind of fun, right? Billy put it perfectly on the radio. Like, they played in so many one-score games last year. You know what helps win those games? Being efficient in the red zone, making things that used to be field goals turn into touchdowns. Great first outing in that regard. Uncultured, thanks to the super chat. After the playoff loss to the Niners, I said in chat that I wanted Green Bay to have a young mobile QB and speed at receiver. Sneakily, Goot has done it. Yeah, it's funny because I don't think anyone would ever consider Jordan like a classic scrambler, right? Like a guy who's going to use his legs a ton. But you notice how young and sprightly he looks, don't you? And I loved after the game when he talked about Michael Vick being his favorite quarterback ever. Like, let's see some of those moves, buddy. Let's see a little Michael Vick influence in there. No one thinks he's going to be Michael Vick. Just calm down. But I love that idea that we got a guy who, has probably obsessively been watching Michael Vick tape his whole life. I'm down with that. Stanley, thanks for super chat. Feed Aaron Jones the ball and run Shanahan's scheme. We got 1 out of 2 on Sunday. I mean, they fed Aaron Jones after the halftime, so we'll take that. What's up, man? Carry the G radio was outstanding Sunday. By the way, Rudy Ford looked like the only one out of context. Hopefully, he only had a bad day. Go Pack, go! Yeah, he had a rough go of it at times. I also think he had a number of nice plays, things that probably don't show up on highlights or what have you, or were off screen. If you look at the tape, there's a number of plays where he actually plays pretty darn well, but yes, not his greatest game. He had a number of miscues and a couple of missed tackles. You got to clean that up. No doubt about it. Mr. Inglewood, thanks for super chat. A lot of Bears fans drink Carry the G because we love Nagler. Mr. Inglewood, are you a Bears fan? That's impressive because you're here a lot. That's kind of insane. Stanley, thanks for becoming a Carry the G Club member. Really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Mimsy, thanks again. This team is a vibe. It's been a minute, right? Man, I think I talked about this on Daily when I was in Green Bay for training camp. Man, you can just feel the difference. It's up and it's vibing, like zero question. The energy, the togetherness, the excitement, it's palpable. Craig, thanks again, buddy. Any word on Watson? When will he be back? I know the guys on the beat talked to him yesterday in the locker room. Sounds very day-to-day. Still no idea about Sunday's availability, but he did say there hasn't been any conversation about putting him on IR, which would essentially knock him out for 4 weeks. So hopefully this week, but I won't be surprised if it's still a week away. Hey, and by the way, I am fine with that. Unveil him in the home opener. Call that first shot play on the first play of the game. Go up 7-0 again against the Saints right after kickoff. I am down with this idea. All right, everybody. I got to get going. I can't thank you guys enough for a First of all the super chats, holy shit, I don't think I've gotten that many in ages. That was amazing. Thank you so much for the support. I'm really sorry. I know there are a lot of people who can't, have no ability to give a super chat or chatting on Facebook or whatever. I'm sorry that sometimes this is going to happen where things just, I got to get to them, man. And I apologize for not being able to see the rest of the chat, but I really appreciate the support and really appreciate everyone listening and checking out Carry the G Radio earlier this afternoon. I got to admit, that was a ton of fun, and I'm really looking forward to doing that each and every week with Billy. So thank you so much, everybody. Please, please, please do me a monster favor. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends, tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Have a great night, everybody. Go Pack Go.